Hello, nice to meet you. We are in the Trouvent les Légendes Festival 2025 and we meet Sir Ian Livingstone. Woohoo!
Hi
Hello,
there.
sir.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Oh, good, good. I am very pleased and so honored to be here. Okay, so I've got some questions. We will be fast because there is plenty of things to do and I know your time is precious.
That's okay.
First of all, very important, did you spend good holidays in Iceland?
It was amazing. We saw whales.
Wow.
We swam between the continents through
Yeah.
tectonic plates.
I saw it, yes. It
We
was
found Port Black Sand.
unbelievable.
I didn't know it was in Iceland.
Unbelievable.
I thought it was in Alancia, but
yeah, we
that's okay.
we all we will consider it, but
Yeah.
actually it's an
we
Iceland.
were going to go snowmobiling, but it was too windy, so we
Oh,
got
wow.
cancelled.
It might
an
be
amazing
good.
time.
Good.
Didn't Cavernes of the Snow Witch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what about our question about fighting fantasy game books?
Yeah.
About your brand new game books. So Dungeons of Woodland Island. Could you just and maybe just some words just to present the story and the adventure of it?
Okay. Well, everyone knows Death Trap Dungeon. It was produced by Baron Sukhumvitz, and he had a brother called Lord Carnus, who was very jealous. And when he heard that Sukhumvitz was going to have a second dungeon, which was Trial of Champions,
Of course.
he decided to have his dungeon just before. So he builds this dungeon, and he invites everybody from all Alancia to go in and try and survive. And he makes it incredibly difficult for you to survive. So
It's hard.
the joy I have is that I know that all the readers are going to fail.
Yeah.
They're going to fall down pits. They're going to get killed by their friends. And they're going to suffer terribly. And that gives me great joy.
Plenty of ways of dying in
Yeah.
this dungeon. As usual, of course. Okay, thank you. Okay, so when do you situate the adventure between Death Trap Dungeon or a Trial of Champions or Army of Death? It's before, in between, or after?
It's
Or
after Death Trap Dungeon and just before Trial of Champions.
Okay, so that's an in-between.
It's an in-between.
All right, that's good. Is this the same character in the same books, or is just always another character, another adventurer?
Well, the hero is the reader. So
Sure, we are the adventurer.
you are
Yeah,
the hero until you die.
Of course, of course.
And then you're a dead
after you
hero.
die and retry, that's
Yeah.
the aim of it. All right, okay. About the inner illustration, it's Mr. Bala who made the illustration.
Yeah.
How do you meet the work of Mr. Bala, and how do you decide, or the publisher decide, to take Mr. Bala about the illustration of it?
Well, I'd seen the work he'd done when the Hungarian translations.
Yeah.
So I contacted the Hungarian publisher and said, is he available? So he put me in contact with him, and he said he had time to do it, and I thought he did an amazing job. He really captures the moment really well.
Yeah, that's good. It's very beautiful. But,
Yeah.
and that's an old-fashioned style, a classic old-fashioned style. That's
Not
interesting.
quite old-fashioned
No?
pen and ink. It's still digital,
Okay.
but it looks like pen and ink.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. About illustrations, just a side question, but I know you've got your own collection of illustrations, namely legendary covers and so on. I
Yeah.
saw pictures of your own private collection.
Yeah.
First of all, if I'm not wrong, you have unbelievable things. Do you have actually a favorite one?
That's a bit like asking me if I got a favorite child. I have 4 children. But if you would say to me, if your house is burning down, which painting would you take?
Let's say it, yeah. Flame and the fireman is coming. And
It's terrible.
yeah, I know.
situation. It would probably be the shape changer from the cover of Forest of Doom.
Okay. So
But I'd be crying at the same time leaving the other ones behind.
Of course, but this one is a legendary one, of course. But that would be the one you would take before everything else. Of
But
course,
if
you
no
like
one was
all
looking, I'd also take Death Trap Dungeon cover.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
I have that as well.
Oh yeah, Ian McCaig then.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Unbelievable. You know what? I am teaching history of art and archaeology in the school in Brussels. I am preparing a lesson about fantasy illustrations and so on. And if I was asking you, which one is, according to your opinion, the one who will last for the centuries, maybe in 500 years, which one will be remembered?
Of fighting fantasy artists. Well, they're all amazing in their own way, and it's very subjective, your opinion.
Absolutely.
Some people like one artist, some people like another artist. But for me personally, I have a kind of like a short list. I love the work of Carl Kopinski. I love Rhys Nicholson. I like Martin McKenna. I like Jim Burns.
Yeah, sure.
But just to the top of the tree has to be Ian McCaig for me. You know, I've worked with him for over 40 years, and I just love he captures a moment like no other. And it's just a look. You feel threatened on the covers, and you feel the dynamic movements.
Yeah, sure. And it's a moment of adventure. It's what we call in history about the pathos, the very moment, very precisely
Something is happening.
Everything is tense, and I understand you. Okay, other subject, other topic. Do you have anecdotes about your new game books, about how you wrote it, how you decided about Dungeon of Blood Island? I mean.
Yeah. Well, I still use my traditional method of writing. I still have a flowchart which I create as you go. I create a story arc with some of the points determined, but then I write freeform as we go. And I make a note of every encounter, what happens there, so I don't get lost with the adventure. And then I test it for difficulty, test it for accuracy, test it for the economy, make sure it's not too much money or too little money, and then make sure it's not boring.
Yeah, sure. It's not.
Because the important thing is the story.
Yeah.
The mechanics, the game mechanics, add excitement, but they play a supporting role.
Okay. I know it's a hard thing because I'm writing myself game books, and I know it's very hard to balance it.
Yeah. Every choice must have a consequence.
Absolutely, and a consequence and an origin and a logical beside. Yes, sure. Do you have these charts? Could you take a picture and send it to me?
I do have the charts.
Oh,
I have all the charts.
Could you have? Can I have a picture of it to publish it on Facebook and so on?
I'll give you a bit of it.
I'm trying.
A bit of one, not the whole one.
Oh, sure. Okay. Just a part of it would be great. Yeah.
But I have them at home. I have them framed.
Okay.
On the wall.
Okay.
But they were done just in ink, pen and ink.
All right.
I don't use twine or software or anything.
No. I know. You explained myself. You explained to me some month ago that you were just still using. Anyway, a very just basic
handmade flowchart.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Now let's talk about another 40 years old book, which is Freeway Fighter and Temple of Terror. I must admit, these two books are amongst my favorite ones.
Really? That's good to hear.
For many reasons. I just loved it in French, of course, but also in English now. Of course, I know the comics. Okay, the Freeway Fighters comics, but about a re-edition, a new edition of Freeway Fighter, I would dream about it, a collector edition or anything. Do you have something in plan now?
There's no plans. I'd love to see that. I mean, my publisher in the UK is Scholastic, and they only publish like a new title every 1 or 2 years. But they haven't done any reprints for a long time now. So maybe I have to do that privately. I don't know.
I would be
everyone
great.
loves Freeway Fighter.
And you know, there is a lot of people in France or in probably in England. I know less the English audience, but about the French speaking audience, I know them very well. They are dying to have another translation, another adaptation, a modernized adaptation of it.
Yeah, and also Temple of Terror was. I mean, it wasn't an early book, so people tend to forget about those books that came after the top 15 books. But I was very pleased with it. It's the first time I'd used magic in a book, and in the desert scenario, I thought it was quite good.
And the Free Fighter, the post-apocalyptic topics, the theme is very popular now. So
it's quite coincidental because if you read it, it says a virus wiped out humanity in 2022.
Absolutely.
At the same time as a pandemic.
Absolutely.
It's kind of weird.
You know, I don't know about in England, but in France, the price, the cost, the price of the books increased by 3 times or 4 times at this very moment.
And people realize
every people wanted to read it at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, because it became reality in
2022.
Oh, you know what? It's just like in the book.
I know.
I was in Canada when I read it because it was when I reread it, I read it before.
That was weird.
It was amazing. He was a prophet. I mean, he has a crystal ball and reading future in this crystal ball.
Luckily, not everybody died.
You don't. Are you a prophet? Maybe. All right. Okay, so just a few questions. About your books, about Desktop Dungeon. Some of your books have very Asiatic sounds, Asiatic names, and Asiatic context. Was it truly, according to the legend, because you made a travel in Thailand, or
exactly that?
It was that, right?
I went trekking. I went up to the north. I think it was a train to Chiang Mai, and then a bus up to Phang.
Oh yeah,
it exists.
Yeah, sure.
And the River Kok was there.
Sure.
I went trekking along the Burmese border, looking at the Stone Age hill tribes.
Okay.
I was with 3 nurses at the time.
Okay.
And we had a guide. And every time we reached a place to get water, he would be terrified because this was like 1980, a long time ago. And every time we got to near a water place, he'd be terrified because Burmese bandits usually came over the week before.
Okay.
And they shot a German guy for his camera.
Sure.
And he wouldn't give it to them. So he was terrified when we got to them, but we were fine. There was no problem. It was an amazing holiday. And all the characters and the places and the names really stuck with me. So when I came back, it was time to write a new book. So I just dumped my brain into Death Trap.
Okay, so it was a good travel for us, Game Book lovers.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
pleasure.
so much. We will meet you again for another interview.
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy the festival.
May your stamina never fail. Bonne chance.
Absolutely. Merci
Un
beaucoup.
livre dont vous êtes le héros.
Oui. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Et jouez bien.
Au revoir.
Ciao.